So we are now at one of Jarod's projects. Jarod Coffman, Landon Nortoon, they're both going to be here in just a bit. We're going to talk about some building, talk to you about quite a bit. We'll get into that. Let's take a little walk around of this project, kind of see what's going on here. Pretty nice build, 12 and 12. Never been done before on our channel because we don't have snow, but let's cruise around. So they just started using zip out here recently. We've been using it for, I don't know, 3 years now on the channel. But one of my favorite things about these kids, and I call them kids because they're actually younger than me, which is the first. Jarod is 21 years old. His dad has a construction background, has a real estate background. They've done very, very well. Jarod, at the age of 21, is tack sharp. This kid knows a lot. He can run a calculator. Anything you want to calculate, the kid can do. Incredible. I don't know, it's just impressive. It's awesome to see some younger kids getting into this and really taking it serious. Here to California, granted we're only about 1,000 miles apart, the headers get framed out differently. The walls get framed out differently. The floor systems, the foundation, they don't necessarily have slabs out here, they've got basements. In California, we're doing a lot of slab on grade and just framing direct from there. This building, there's actually a basement way down below that's all framed out with steel. They'll sheet that. And then up here, we've got these stem walls going all the way around. They put a plate down, joist out on top of it, and then sheet that. So if you have a 3,000 square foot house above the basement, you're building out a whole floor system. A 3,000 square foot house in California, we come onto a slab on grade and just frame right there. It's kind of different. I would have to figure out how to price things out here because you have to build out the floor itself. So what we came out here to Colorado to do was actually prep for the International Builders Show in 2024. Huberwood is letting the youngsters take the stage, so I'll be up there with Landon and Jarod talking about stretch tape right here, talking about the sheathing, talking about Advantech, why we're using it, why we both made the switch. We're going to be going over product details and much more. Should be a good time. So if you're at the International Builders Show, closer to that date, I'll keep you guys updated on what we're going to be doing, when and where. We'll come all the way back to the garage where we started. But before that, check this out. This is what I was talking about. Down here in the basement, there's big steel I-beams running all the way across with metal joist. You know what? Give me a second. So what I was saying is that they have to build out this little pony wall here. They have to build out the joist on top. It's much different than in California where we show up to a flat slab and just start framing walls.
Oh, all right, on camera. Let's see if I can.
And that's it. Like if you guys build those two rakes, if you set this rake and build and set that rake, then we're essentially good to go.
And we can also
with the main section of this roof.
We can also do our middle wall, and maybe if we were going to do that, maybe I'd have you build that first. Our middle one that'll go between them with the fireplace on it. Little guy.
Should we help him?
I don't think you should cut him in half.
Well, we need to help him.
That's like the smallest little mouse I've ever seen.
Oh my god. Get this.
Is it okay or is it already jacked up?
No, I think it's okay.
then our centers are 15 foot 4 3/8. Which goes with which? This one is
Either one. These both are the same length. We're just gonna cut the 45 up there and whack the bottom of one of them. Let us close with this. So these are the same length. You want a 6-3 track?
Yeah.
You want one for your header as well, don't you know?
That's what these are, yeah. So the 3 are for the header, and then we'll run our trimmers all the way to the bottom, and our sill will just be 30. Yep. Ka-chow.
A little bit different, dude.
I know, 'cause you guys usually will run your sills to the king as well.
We
right?
break it. Yeah, our still matches.
That's so weird. I mean, I know it works structurally, but
Different scopes for different folks. Single sill?
yeah. We used to double, but I don't care anymore. like 2 inches above your block line. And that's a 612.
Over there.
Oh, it's so small.
Yeah. So the blocks that we're putting in right now are cut on a 6 and 12 and a 6 and 12, 27 degrees, and they run from one specific spot up to the center of this wall. Jarod builds his walls, his exterior gables. He doesn't have a gable on the outside of the wall like we typically do. He builds the wall all the way to the top of the roof and then puts the gable that'll actually sit right up against the side here. So what we're doing is actually blocking out the bottom cord of the truss so we have solid backing. It'll act as two things. It'll act as drywall backing because the truss will sit here and up so you can still get drywall screws in there. It also acts as a fire stop to prevent anything from in the wall coming up into the attic space. We normally run whatever the bottom cord of the truss is at the top of our rake wall and then set the truss on top. Jarod builds the top of the truss to the wall there. So we've got 6 and 12 going across here. We're blocking this out. We're going to sheet this thing, fly this up, fly that up. Both will be up by end of day. Should be looking pretty good. We're not going to be doing a whole lot more here. Just really wanted to get out here on the tools with some friends of mine. We've all been talking for years and years, so it's nice to get out here on the tools, cut some stuff, build some walls, and know that we left a little bit of ourselves here in Colorado. So we're not taking any numbers on this whatsoever. The way that we're doing this is cutting the 6 and 12. We have a line snap in the center. We're cutting the 6 and 12 on one side. Just lining it up over here. Bottom of it goes in the blue line. And we just mark this inside. That gives us the short point.
my tattoos like catching on all my.
Oh, I forgot we did.
Victor loaded us up. Brought the sheets over. That way. This way, right?
Road check now.
I am 7/8.
That's it right there.
3/4 heavy.
I'm going here, yeah. You hanging these down for rim?
Yep, that, if we just go right on
That's our block line?
that would be really good. You're probably running the air because they're sheeting too. And it sounds like they're using the air tool.
We're running out, that's for sure. We have no air. We have no air. We have no air. No air. Oh, look at that one.
Come on, baby. Come on. Woo! Got as close as it gets. Yes, sir. I think we literally got.
Yeah, about 1.5 feet left. Normally these episodes I just hang out with people. Jarod told me I had to work. I've been talking to this kid for like the last 3 years. Was just starting to run some things. Couldn't be more proud of this kid. Doing great things. Link in the description. What do you want in your overhang out here? You're wanting that to be 12 as well, correct?
Yeah, but it'll be 12 from after the sheathing.
Yeah, so right now you'd be 12 and a half. Once the sheathing's on, you'd be 12.
Exactly. So I'm running this minus an inch and a half so we can run our...
You're still planning on having a sub there though, correct?
Exactly. And then...
Do you cut this back at 5.5?
Yeah, well I cut it at, I go 6 1/4.
Okay.
So that way when we run our other piece,
Where
right
it
here.
flames out, I gotcha.
Yep, so that's gonna basically come across to where our sheet will break in the middle of,
Okay.
of the
So your sheet stops
substation.
here
Yep,
when it comes down.
yep, exactly.
Okay. So we're cutting here.
Yep, that line and that line. My full layout, you know, will be the same as that, so that'll be great. To where our sheet, 4 foot from there, will break in the middle of those. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, might as well. Gorgeous.
A little different than I'm used to, man. Do you have any issues with this ever like sagging or falling down, or do you put anything up underneath it, or?
Nah, it's just the tension from the roof sheathing.
Your sheathing goes over, overlaps, kind of holds it up.
Yeah. I've done 3 foot overhangs this way.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't put 45 kickers under them or anything?
I mean, we do until it's sheeted, but like this one is so short that we can leave it while we sheet it and it'll be fine. But the ones that we did, like if we do pretty much anything more than like 12 inches,
yeah,
we'll put like 45 braces temporarily to keep it level until we sheet it, and then
I can see the sheathing holding onto it, doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
I've never built anything like that before. So like ours are all, we get a double top cord on our truss, and we'll cut through the first top cord, run the thing out, and we have to tie like, that's a structural detail for us, so we like have to tie that thing back in.
Every now and again our trusses will be like that. So I haven't had that on a job where we did this too, but if we did, I'd probably frame the rake wall to the bottom of, usually they'll drop it 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
I probably just frame it to the bottom
And
of
let that thing run back through.
Yeah.
I got you.
And they're like, we should get off. I'm like, nah, we got this. And then I was like, all right, Bailey, I think it's time.
It's starting to come down pretty good.
Yeah.
This is about the time in California where we wrap it up.
Yep.
It was supposed to rain all week for us here. Just the last day. I'm happy with that.
Same. It was literally like Ty and Bailey, like, all right, we should get down. It was like 40 minutes ago. Nah, we got this. This is so light. I want to finish. We didn't finish.
But luckily we got this done.
Yeah.
Dude, you kind of wanted 11, 12.
All the trash that me and Ty talked about you when you're not here apparently isn't true.
Oh.
Dude, that's what makes some of the things we should be sharing with us too. And I looked at Bailey. Ask Bailey. We kind of like, oh! This is pretty standard out here. We've probably had 30 or 40 days like this year at least. Usually it lasts about an hour or so. Yeah, we usually hunker down in the garage and wait for the storm to blow over.
What about the hail? Is that pretty normal?
Hail's pretty standard here too. It was like almost 90 degrees earlier today, and then now it's literally dumping ice out of the sky. That's Colorado for you. Yeah.
So is there any sort of preparation you guys do for something like this, or do you just kind of like pack it up as best as you can?
If we can foresee it coming, you know, we'll like put our tools in a spot where they're not going to get dumped on. We'll, you know, bring our jackets on site and leave them like in the garage or something so we can throw them on when we need to. Or if it's going to be really bad, we just won't work, or we'll work at an inside project. But it's just kind of the nature of working out here, so for the most part, we just kind of deal with it.
So this seems kind of case in point of why you guys use AdvanTech, why it's not going to get waterlogged, right?
Totally, yeah. I mean, between the AdvanTech subfloor and the zip system on the walls, we didn't use it on the roof, and that's why this place is dripping all over the place.
Going down in the crawl space the other day.
Jarod, thank you for having me out here in Colorado. It's been quite the experience. I don't get weather like this in California. It was 90 degrees, 4 hours ago. We got rain, hail, massive winds, and lightning over there. I don't know how you do it out here, but first off, introduce yourself, let people know what you do, where to find you. We'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm Jarod Coffman, 21-year-old framer in Colorado. So I work on the crew for my dad's company, Coffman Construction. We're on Instagram by the same name, Coffman Construction, YouTube.
How long have you been doing this?
I mean, I've been around it my whole life. I've got pictures of me as a baby in a skid steer. But I started like working full time when I was 14, so that'd be about 7 years.
How long have you been running your own crew?
That would be 4 years. I was 18 when I ran my first crew.
Oh, so that was about the same time that I met you.
Yep.
Because you were on a big multifamily when I first started talking with you. I remember we did some sort of Zoom call with a bunch of people.
Yep, right. That was the first project I was the lead on.
That's awesome. So what do your projects look like now? What's your typical project? Are you in multifamily more, custom more?
Definitely a lot more custom, just with how the market and the economy is right now. It's really just the people who have a lot of money that are paying the rates that good framer charges, you know?
I'm curious, being as young as you are, we have a lot of young people that watch both your channel and mine. What was any piece of advice you could give to somebody young that's looking to get in that doesn't have a family yet? My dad's a contractor, your dad's a contractor. We both had ins. There's no shame in that, but somebody that doesn't have a connection, how could they get in?
Totally. I mean, the biggest thing is like surround yourself with other people that care about it. I have my brother-in-law, Landon.
Get in here, Landon. Sit down with us.
So, anyways, but yeah, like surrounding yourself with other guys, and for me, it's friends too, and in this case, now family also. He married my sister, but other like-minded. Yes, I did. But other like-minded carpenters and people who will make you better. It's just like anything, like you become who you surround yourself with. And there's not a lot of good resources, like you can't go to college for framing, you know? But there's resources like yours on YouTube and like Tim Mueller on Instagram, and just so many resources online and in books and stuff that if you just obsess over it, for lack of a better explanation.
Do you think, like, if you fixate and actually focus on stuff that you can, because I mean, at 21 years old, I've had guys that are 40 that struggle to know what you know. And obviously you applied yourself, you were determined, you wanted to do this. You take it serious, you get further ahead or what?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So Landon, go ahead and introduce yourself. How'd you get into this? How long you been doing it?
I'm Landon Nortoon, married to Jared's sister. I've been in the construction world for about 10 years now. I started when I was 14, doing maintenance stuff for a church and school. My dad's a superintendent, so he had me cheap labor, do remodeling rooms, demoing a bunch of stuff, painting like crazy, you wouldn't believe. And then I just really, a couple years in, it was just a summer job, and then I took it more seriously and would go after school and work. And I did like full remodels of rooms by myself, just picking it up, and I fell in love with it. And we had a framer who went to our church, and I kind of was like, hey, can I just work for you for the summer? And we started a house from absolutely nothing. We were excavating, digging, pouring concrete, and then framing, of course. And I fell in love with framing, and I was like, this is what I want to do. So I quit college. I was going to college for 2 years to become a civil engineer, and I said, this is what I'd rather do. And then COVID happened, and we were out of California. It was complete lockdown. Construction wasn't essential, so all our big company was out. No one was working.
My little company was essential.
Yeah, well, that's good. We had like 600 employees, and no one was working.
No, they shut down all the big commercial projects, all the big multifamily.
Yeah,
stuff like
it was
that.
crazy. So we were out of a job for like a month and a half, and then out here in Colorado, Coffman Construction was building my uncle's house. And so my uncle was like, hey, my nephew frames. Do you need another framer? And his dad's like, yeah, have him call me up. And he gets that type of stuff all the time, like, yeah, have him call me up, and no one ever calls. Yeah. So I called him, got a $5 pay cut, but I wanted to build my uncle's house.
Showed up and asked, how's your daughter?
And that's right. And then after I called him on a Thursday, and I was out here on a Monday. I drove all my stuff, lived with my uncle.
From California back out to Colorado.
Yeah.
Wow.
You drove that car that you're driving now.
Yeah.
You drove the RAV4 with all the Star Wars stickers all the way back out here.
Exactly. And then fell in love with the crew, all my age. You know, we connected really fast.
You said you went to school, or you were going to school to be, what was it? A
civil engineer. Yep.
That pays very good. It's an awesome career path.
Yep.
You obviously saw a change, wanted to work with your hands, do something different. For those people out there that might not know, I asked Jared the same thing. What advice would you give to somebody that might want to have a career change, or doesn't know if this is fit for them, or maybe they think they're too old for it? I've heard a million different things.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say one thing, and I tell everyone, it never hurts to do it for a little bit.
Yeah,
even if you hate it. Any construction background, the goal is for everyone to own a house, their own house one day, right? Yep. So, hey, if I can frame out this window by myself rather than calling someone, you know how to do it. Even if it's something so small, you still have a realm of what you can do, rather than just hiring someone not know at all what they're talking about. Because if you're in the trades for a little bit, then you at least get some of the lingo, and it helps you, for your house or for your family's house or whatever. It never hurts to be in it, I feel like.
So give it a shot and see if you can.
And then, like us, I take so much pride in my work, and then you can step back and be like, I built that.
Yep.
I did that today, or I did that in a month. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And for me, that's so fulfilling. I'm sure maybe not for everyone, but I think if you give it a shot, a real good shot, and give it your best effort, you'll have that same feeling.
What was your question?
My question was, going from civil engineer to framing now, a pretty big gap. Did you have a moment where you were like, this is what I want to do? Like, this is what I want to leave school to do.
Yeah,
this is my path.
Absolutely. There was, when I started framing, I loved construction. When I was 16, 14, it was kind of felt like my dad was forcing me to do like the remodels and maintenance. But at 16, I realized like, I'm pretty good at this. I think I can make this work. And then I just kept pursuing it outside of school, and I was still going to school. And I wanted to do civil engineering because I was so fascinated with how things are built. Just like in general in civil engineering, do a lot of like bridges and all that stuff. Like
infrastructure,
and I had I was like, I love that. Like, so I went from building it to studying it, and I'm like, I would way rather build this. And I know with that small realm of civil engineering, I got way too far in math than I need now, but it helps. I can now problem solve.
No more questions from you. So one of the first things I noticed was this big radius wall all the way across the back here. What did that look like? Who figured that out?
So we've been fortunate that the builders on this project have been super involved. So Mike, who's one of them, he has a background in carpentry and especially custom stuff. So he basically made a jig in his garage. I think it's like 156-foot radius technically. And he, made a jig, but we basically cut plates out of plywood, and then they mapped out like location points along it, and you basically just lined it up with the plywood and went all the way across.
Connect the dots.
Yep.
That's weird. How did it feel? I mean, you're not on that tight of a radius where the sheathing had to really bend a whole lot, are you?
Correct.
No, not at all.
So you just nail it on and it just falls into place?
Yep.
So this is the bottom plate detail we ended up doing. So you can see we've got the double layer 3/4 plywood, and that's ripped at that like 156-foot radius. We double layered that up to get our 1.5 inches, and then we actually coated each of these with basically the same kind of chemical that they pressure treat material in. We painted it on because we didn't have this plywood pressure treated ahead of time. So we ran that all the way across both sides. For the bottom plates, same thing happened for the top plates. But on the top we have 3 layers of 3/4 plywood, and then the very top is a full sheet of 3/4 that spans across the 2 walls and is routed to match the contour of it. And then once these are installed, we had to install draft stop because this is a dead space. Every 10 feet, the airspace needs to be isolated. So every 10 foot or less, we installed a piece of plywood cut to the cavity, and that just keeps us isolated in the event of a fire or anything. Once it's inside here, it's not immediately have a highway to the other side of the house. It's stopped every 10 feet.
One of my favorite things on this house, which is very cool and unique, is that there's windows from the 3rd floor all the way to the garage. There's 8 windows in the master right here. This is the main level, and then there's windows right where I'm standing. They're going to be put in later, all the way to the garage. So there's going to be a spot where he can put his prize car, and he can see it from the main floor and from his master bedroom, and I think that's pretty cool. There's also some in this room from his master bathroom down into this room, so you can see down in this room, and it's pretty cool because it'll all be covered by a false door, and that's why this is so thick, because we have to put a false door in there and you won't even know it's there.
So yeah, I'm John, and started this company back in '93. Was a simple carpenter at the time, and worked my way up to running my own frame crew, and then several frame crews, and becoming a framing contractor, and kept branching out into other things, and became a general contractor. And just continued growing through the years, and have been fortunate to have this next generation of studs here to do bigger and better things than me, because I know they will. So obviously business is not always easy. You go through the ups and downs. You get the jobs that you don't do well on, as well as some of them that turn out pretty good. Working on projects like this is pretty amazing, seeing that these guys can, as young as they are, build crazy cool things, and makes me super proud as a father and father-in-law. So like I said, they'll do bigger and better things than me. I did a couple of flips in 08, 09 after the crash, and then realized when I was doing the second flip that I was, it's just another job. We're flipping it, we're making a little bit of money, and I was doing it with a partner at the time, and I told him, I said, we should keep this instead of selling it and rent it out. And he said, nah, I just want to flip. So that was the last one we did together. And so the next year bought my first rental in 2010. And through the years, we, bought another one in 2014 and another one in 2017. And then 2018, we started going big, started buying out of state, and were able to really scale it up to where we bought quite a few properties now in multiple states, and it's just a really good way to use our skill sets in something that is going to produce for generations, not just for my life, but for theirs and for their kids and things like that. And we can use our skills to have an unfair advantage over other people that are in the same space as us. I mean, I think being teachable and being consistent and, you know, wanting to learn, because again, we all make mistakes, and every day on the job site, anybody that is honest knows that we make mistakes. We cut something wrong, we lay something out wrong, and the thing is, sometimes they're big mistakes. Sometimes we cut that glue lam a foot too short, and now we can't get that glue lam for 3 weeks, and we stalled the whole project. But you do that once and you never forget it. So some of those lessons are just the greatest, you know, and these guys have been amazing. I mean, just they've got great attitudes and they're hard workers and they want to learn, and they've shown that it doesn't take a lot of time to learn if you apply yourself, you know, and they've done it. I mean, they amaze me every day, and almost every single customer that we have will sing their praises, and you know, we've got a pretty young crew by and large. I mean, most of the guys are fairly young, and a couple of years ago I would send them out on jobs and I would get phone calls from, you know, the customer in the morning when they showed up, and they'd be like, did you guys send the Jonas Brothers out here to do our work? You know, kind of joking that they're like a boy band or something like that, but by the end of the day they would be calling or texting saying these guys are amazing, you know, and that continues to happen. I mean, everywhere that we go, customers are just absolutely ecstatic, you know, and obviously there's always something to learn. Like, again, we're still learning, and I had a guy that I worked for years ago that he was the grumpy boss, and he was about to cut the glue lam a foot short, and I'd kind of watched him do the math, and I was afraid to call him on it because he's the boss, you know, and you don't want to call the boss out and tell him he's making a mistake. But I said, hey man, you know, I think we better remeasure this. I think you're off by a foot. And he just, you know, put his cigarette back in his mouth, and we went back and checked it, and sure enough, he was off a foot, and it was a giant beam. I mean, it was like a 35-foot LVL, and he said, thank you for letting me know that. And I told him, I said I was a little afraid to say something because I wasn't sure if I would offend you. And he said, hey, you learn something new every day. If you get to the point where you don't learn something, you stop growing and you're at the pinnacle of your career. That's it, you're done, you're topped out. You know, so I've always kind of thought, like, there's something to learn today. You know, there's something to learn every day. And so hopefully we all keep that, you know, as we go forward, that we're looking for what we're going to learn today and better ourselves and be better human beings.